It's a new year, guys. Welcome to 2023. Hello and welcome to the Crochet Luna Vlogcast. My name is Claudia and I'm coming to you from the San Diego area in Southern California, where I am wishing you all a happy new year. It is the second weekend in the new year, and I am really happy to be here with you guys. If you are new to my channel, I am a crochet-centric, proud crocheter that sometimes knits, sometimes sews, but really it's the crochet life for me. So welcome to any new subscribers, anybody who is new to the channel, and to all my returning viewers. I hope that you guys had a lovely holiday season. And if you didn't, let's leave that all behind. It's a new year, and some of the same things we're going to talk about. We'll talk about crochet. We're going to talk about yarn. And yeah, let's get started. So, if you saw my last episode, I had grand plans, and I am happy to report that I did come through with some of those grand plans. But for other things, nothing got done because I got COVID. Yes, it's nothing. I'm laughing now, but I wasn't laughing back then. I literally spent the last, at least 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks before Christmas, either tending to family members or being sick myself. My son got sick first, and it was my daughter. Then I think we had a week of nobody getting sick. My husband went to Vegas for work, came back, got sick, and then I got sick. And he did not test for COVID, although I really think he had COVID. My children tested negative for COVID, even though I think what they got is that horrible plague flu that was going around. I wear a mask at work. If you don't know, I'm a clerk at a school, so I'm around a lot of sometimes sick kids and staff. But I really don't think that's where I picked it up. I think it was my husband brought it back from his job travels, his work travels. So he didn't test, but he got really sick. And I kind of stayed away. And it's very difficult, though. I think that when one person is sick in a house, it just kind of tends to make the rounds. And then I was off, I think, almost 10 days sick with COVID. So I felt really bad because I kept updating my Etsy shop as to when I thought was going to open, and it never opened for the holidays. So I have Christmas bags that I guess I'll be putting on, I'll be putting in the shop for the next holiday season. They're still cute, but yeah, I think that I will not be putting those up in the shop. I still don't have a date for when it will open. I'm hoping really soon. After all that, I say we were all sick. Luckily, we all got better. And then we went on Christmas break from school. And we had a really good season. I had recorded videos that I thought I was going to post in the channel for Vlogmas or Vlogmas type videos. But honestly, I just wasn't able to put it together. And as I had said in my last video, I wasn't going to put that kind of pressure on myself. Highlights from the holiday season for me were a trip to the zoo with my family. And I'll put some video here so that you can see. We have a really incredible zoo, the San Diego Zoo. And my husband's company worked on one of the projects in a new, not a new area in the zoo that he wanted to show me, and I thought it was really cool. It's where all the bugs live. And I saw some really cool bugs. Like, I'm not a bug person per se, and they kind of creep me out, but man, some of these insects were pretty amazing. And they also have like a working beehive that you can see the video of the bees working, and then you can see the hive. It's really, really interesting. So yeah, so we had a really, really wonderful day at the zoo. And then
I'll be
And then as I said, I had all these grand plans. I was gonna make cookies. I was gonna cook. I bought vegan cookbooks and vegan baking books and all this kind of stuff. And I got to make I tried one recipe for a peanut butter vegan cookie that was okay. But I don't know much about baking, so maybe you guys can tell me if this has any effect on the outcome of baking cookies, because I have flour that I think was old. I bought fresh flour, and then I had some flour that I used maybe 6-8 months ago. And I used that flour for making cookies. And I don't know if that impacted how the cookies came out, because they were really flaky and they just had a really interesting texture. Let's just call it interesting texture. Everybody ate them. I mean, we all ate them. They were not unedible, but they were just not quite what I thought they were going to be. And sometimes when you're baking vegan things, the textures are slightly different sometimes than what you're used to. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. Maybe you guys out there can tell me. But the highlight is I found a recipe for vegan pozole. And pozole is a Mexican soup that is usually made with pork or beef and hominy and like chiles. It's really super, super delicious. And for the cold weather, I love eating that kind of food. But because, we're vegan, I'm always looking for that food, but veganized. And so I found a recipe on YouTube for a vegan pozole, which I will link below because it was amazing. Amazing. And so, the day that I made it, my daughter had her friend who was Mexican over, and I said, "Hey, do you want to try some vegan pozole?" And she goes, "Sure." And then she was like, "Well, it's not quite like what I'm used to." She goes, "But it's really good." So for someone who eats a lot, she knows pozole, she knows, I know pozole, she knows pozole. And I really like the way it came out. I'm really happy with that. So that was a huge highlight, for me because, like when you get like hankering for something, like you want a particular thing to eat and you think about it and you're like, I really, really want this. And I've been wanting to, like, I used to love to eat menudo. I used to love to eat pozole. And I thought, man, I just have to find a recipe that's going to help me get that, that out of my system. And we had it like for 3 days. It was so good, you guys. It was so good. But yeah, I will link that recipe below so that you can see the video. She also has a blog where I think you could download the actual recipe. So anyway, highlights were the pozole, highlights were the zoo. We had a very low key Christmas. My kids are older, they're 12 and 14. Because they're only 14 months apart. So my daughter's birthday is January 1st, so she just turned 14. And my son's birthday is in March, so he'll be 13 in March. Super low key. They were really happy with what they got for Christmas. My daughter, I don't know if you guys have gone through this, but kids go through these phases where as they're, little kids, they like certain toys. Like my daughter loved My Little Pony. She loved Shopkins, and then she loved Monster High. And as they outgrow, these toys just sit in the rooms and like you don't know what to do with them. And so I remember I packed up all of her Monster High dolls because they're really cute dolls and she really liked playing with them, but then she was done. I can't find that container where those dolls lived. And all of a sudden, in the last 4 months, she's become obsessed with her Monster High dolls. And so I was like, I am sorry. I have no idea what I did with that container. And here comes my mother, Grandma, to the rescue, and she was able to procure some Monster High dolls for her, and she was over the moon, so happy. It's interesting. It's just so funny to see how, you know, at least for my daughter, to come back around and be like so into something that she was so into when she was like, you know, way younger. And then my son, he loves, you know, the same stuff, Legos, Star Wars, that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I gifted myself some stuff for Christmas. I decided that I wanted to get a couple things for myself for Christmas, and because of, and this is all influenced by the blogs that I've been watching. So I don't know if you guys have watched the blogs, Vlogmas, which I love. I love Vlogmas. I love watching those blogs. But some of my favorites are Chelsea Yarns, which, you know, I bought the Chelsea Yarns advent calendar. I love, Standing by the Lakeside. And, I found 2 new ones that I was watching this season. But anyway, they always show these really beautiful Emma Bridgewater mugs. And I ordered some for myself, and I said, this is going to be my Christmas present to me. So I'll show you this is one of them right here. So I got this really beautiful mug. I love dragonflies, and I was so happy to see that on my mug, and it's got my name on it. And you can go on the Emma Bridgewater website and get a personalized mug with almost whatever you want on it. You know, I got another one that says Luna on it that has the Christmas cookie motif. And I think right now they're doing a 60% off. I don't think it applies to personalized mugs, but I think they're having like a 60% off sale off their mugs. And they also sell seconds, which I'm sure are perfectly fine. So I'll put a link down below if you're interested in any Emma Bridgewater. There is a UK website, or I guess there's a UK site, and I think you can also purchase from a US site. And you can go on Amazon too, because I went on Amazon and I was trying to see what they had. But yeah, I love this size mug, and I've been using these throughout the season, and it's made me really happy. And I figure, you know, they're not cheap. I'll tell you that they're not cheap, but it was my Christmas present to myself, and I was really happy and enjoyed it. Comment down below and tell me what is something that you've bought for yourself. What was your Christmas present to yourself this year? I would love to know what people bought for themselves. I always do that. Every year I buy something and I'm like, this is going to be my Christmas present to myself. And it's usually something that I like splurge on that I wouldn't just like go off and buy, you know, willy-nilly. Every January I have what's called a frogging party, which means I go through all my WIPs and I see what I'm going to frog and put back in the stash. And usually it's, you know, 1 or 2 projects, maybe more. But really, I always try and be really intentional about it, because there's projects that I've started that I knew right away, as soon as I opened that project bag, I was not going to finish it. So I've already done that, and I'm happy to report I have 0 projects to frog this year. And I've only got 3 WIPs right now that need finishing, and they are all things that you have seen before. I'll start with my Corrine Cardi. Literally all this cardigan needs is 1 sleeve. Okay? It's 1 sleeve. I'll show you. And I think it was because I started this when it was hot and I just didn't want to deal with putting the sleeve on, that this has been sitting there just lingering, because I was able to do 1 sleeve, no issue, except that I thought the video was just a little confusing for someone like me who's not really a knitter, because she had you do, I think it was like you did half of the stitches with continental knitting and half with English knitting, and I don't understand why that was. It's gonna be loud. This podcast is gonna be loud. My neighbors are doing God knows what, and the dogs are going crazy, so I apologize. But I really would like to do as I would like to have minimal editing in this podcast so it can go up for you guys as soon as possible. So I apologize. Anyway, I did the sleeve for one side, and then as you can see, it's just missing in the sleeve on the other. And this is the Corrine Cardi, which is a design by Van Ray Knits. And I purchased a kit for it for, I think it was it the Spring Knit Along? Oh gosh, I don't even know. It's by Knit Collage. And like I said, I purchased a kit, and I was, I was working on it, and then I just kind of lost steam. And so that's all that's missing from here. As you can see, it's got these granny squares. And if you want to see more detailed pictures, they are on my Instagram grid. The next one that I have decided I'm not going to frog because I really like this and I would like to finish it. And I have put enough time into it that I know that all I would like to do is finish it is I've shown this before, the Eclectic Jumper by Cassie Ward. Looks like that. And I will link the patterns below and the company Knit Collage. So if you're interested in going to their website to seeing what that's about, you will be able to. Usually, I usually put the show notes right down below the video for you guys. So I have a panel, which is the front of the sweater. And I started that second panel, which is the back of the sweater. Actually, it goes like this. So I'm not going to frog this. I will finish it eventually. It is a crop version of it, so it shouldn't take that long, but I've just, you know how it is. We all have WIPs, but definitely will not be frogging that. It's living in my super cute Fat Squirrel Fibers bag. The next pattern I will not be frogging are my Halloween socks. The pattern is called Creepy Crawly Spider Sock Pattern by Brianna K Designs. It looks like this. And I really like the stitch pattern. I really like how these are coming out. I will not be frogging these. I will be finishing them. I'm working directly from a sock blank that I caked up. And so this is how it's doing. This is how it's coming along. It's been a really nice pattern. I will not be frogging that. So yeah, so those are the three things that are my current WIPs that I'm not going to be frogging. No, let's not call them current WIPs. So these are my older WIPs that I will not be frogging because I do have a current WIP. So I'm really happy with that. I mean, it hasn't been such a burden. It hasn't been so stressful like it usually is every January when I look at a pile of WIPs and I think, oh my gosh, how did I get here with all these WIPs and nothing finished? And so, I usually would just, like I said, frog it, put it back in the stash, and then move on, which is what I suggest anybody. If you've got a pile of WIPs, go through them, really be honest with what you want to finish, and then frog the rest, put it away. It'll make you feel a lot better. It makes me feel a lot better that I'm able to reclaim the yarn, the bag, and the other notions, and then just have that stress disappear. So Here's to a frogging party, a successful frogging party for you guys. And let's move on to what I have actually finished. Moving on to my FOs. They are all from my Chelsea Yarns Advent Calendar. The theme was Après Ski, and I can't tell you how enjoyable it was to open up all the minis. And as I mentioned in my last episode, instead of making one huge project, I decided that I was going to divide the minis and make them into different patterns. And I chose 7 or 8 patterns that I was going to work on. And I will start with the first one. It is called the Gradually Cowl by ACCROchet. This is a paid pattern. Hers, it's a gradient that she did here. I was not going to do a gradient because my advent calendar was not set up that way. But I just went from day 1 through day 6, and I was able to finish up my cowl. This is the front right here. I was able to finish up my cowl, which I really like the way it came out. This was day 1 here at the bottom. So this was day 1, and then there's 2, and there's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is my first pattern, and I will tell you, I really enjoyed doing this pattern, but I will say this. I'm someone who really enjoys repetitive stitches. Like, I don't mind that. I don't mind things that take a while. I'm not really looking for have it be done like instant gratification. I'm sort of like a process I would say more of a process crocheter. I like the process and the rhythm of crochet. So I know I don't know if this is giving too much away of the pattern, but I would say this. If you're not someone who enjoys doing ribbing, ribbing for socks or ribbing in general, you will probably not enjoy this pattern, because this is worked. This is all ribbing. All of these rows it's all ribbing. So I think it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. And I think that the way she wrote it was clear. I didn't have any issues with it. The stitch here was a new to me stitch, and I thought it was so pretty. But like I said, if you don't enjoy ribbing, you're probably going to think it's tedious and you won't enjoy it. So this was days 1 through 6. So moving on to the next pattern and the next FO, was a pair of socks. These were my Sapin socks. This is a paid pattern, and you can see that they were done in one color, and they have this really cute tree motif. And so here are my socks. So, things to say. I didn't quite get gauge, and so my socks are a little big. But I thoroughly enjoyed, really enjoyed making these socks. They have something that I've never done, and it's an afterthought heel. It has an afterthought heel construction, which I think is brilliant. I really enjoyed the way that worked up. Like I said, this was day 7, 8, 9, and 10. So these were the colors that I used. I didn't weigh or measure the yarn. I just kind of winged it, and everything was fine. I had enough yarn so that the socks are the same. I did make one huge change in that this sock here, you can see the tree motif is right here. But because of how speckled the yarn is, I decided that for the second sock, I was not going to do it. I still went ahead and did the little detailing right here, which is the same detailing up here. I omitted that row down here because I just felt like if I wear in a shoe, it was going to bother me, even though she says it doesn't. But because this sock is a little bit large, I'm just using it as a nice pair of like house socks. I will do this pattern again, and I know exactly how I'm going to adjust it so that I can make a pair of socks that I can wear in shoes. I went down a couple hook sizes. So it calls for a 2.75 hook, and I did these with a 2mm hook. What I was going to say about the heel, I used every little bit of yarn from day 7, so none of that's left. And I put it in, you see this little bit right here? That's all that was left. And then I used the other yarns to make the heel. But because I ran out of some of them, the second heel looks a little bit different, but I really don't care. And I'm sure if I hadn't pointed it out to you, probably wouldn't have seen that it's hugely different. So these were the socks that I made with my advent calendar. I really, really enjoyed making these socks. And like I said, they fit a little big. So they're more like house socks. But I completely can see making socks that will fit if I make a couple adjustments, which means starting the heel off a little bit sooner than where I have it. Otherwise the heel, fit perfectly fine. Now, that's my Sapin socks, number 2, second FO. And then I was dying to try this pattern because I thought it was so pretty. And it's the So Twisted ear warmer. This also is a paid pattern. She just used one solid color, but because I'm using my advent calendar, I had this in, I used two of the mini skeins, and this is what mine looks like. So this is mine. I really like this pattern. This was really cute. This is the back of the pattern. Look how pretty that stitch is. I really like this stitch right here. And it's so simple. I will say that the instructions on how to put it together, like when you crochet it flat and then you bring it together to sew it up so that you get this twist in the front, were a little tricky. I just did my best. I just was looking at, actually what I did really is just focus on the picture and just try and figure out how to replicate that. And I thought it looked really cute. It's super quick, so quick to crochet this, and I could totally see doing a scrappy version of this. Once I can get pictures of myself wearing all this stuff, you'll see how it fits. Okay, for the last thing that I've worked on, I did the Forever Love headband. And this is a free pattern with a tutorial, which is great. The tutorial's on YouTube. You go to her blog, and there's a link to the tutorial. There's this, copy that you can print out. It's completely free. And so what I had thought I would do, my plan was to use the scraps from the projects and as I went along to make that headband. And so I did one. Here's one. You just use whatever. I just used this one because this is what I had. Plus my hair is black, so I figured it will blend in with the back of my head. And as you can see, I used every last scrap because I ran out of yarn, and I just added a little bit more of one of the other yarns that I have in there. But this was really quick, super satisfying. In her tutorial, she has tutorials for flowers that you can attach, but I decided not to do that. I really like the way the yarn looks. I think Christina at Chelsea Yarns dyes a beautiful yarn, so I really like the speckling in that. You can't even tell that I have a different color here because it kind of goes under my hair. So that is my last FO. So I actually did a lot better than what I thought I was gonna do, because I was kind of like thinking, how am I gonna crochet 7-8 patterns in a month? There's just no way. But I actually did a lot more crocheting than I thought I was going to be able to do, and I'm super, super happy about that. So what do I have left to crochet from the patterns that I shared on the last episode? So another pair of socks, which are these socks right here. And then since I got the advent calendar with the full skein of yarn, I thought that it would be perfect for, let's see, for the Stella Beanie, which is this one right here. This is a paid pattern. And when I saw the full skein of yarn, oh, I was so in love with that. I wanted to cake it up and start on the beanie, but I'm just trying to hold back. So it's called Festive, and look at that. This is the skein for the hat, and I think this is so beautiful. It's gorgeous. So this is what I'll be using to make the hat. But before I get started on the hat and before I work on the socks, the next project that I have in mind to start with the advent calendar is the Stone Path fingerless gloves. Now, these are all patterns that you've seen from the last episode. So I'm starting these, and I've got the minis. I haven't caked them up yet because I wanted to show them to you first. These are the minis, and they start here. So it goes like this. No, I'm sorry, it starts on this side. So these will be the minis for the gloves. I've got my little gingerbread man stitch marker. This stitch marker I got from Joanna at Stitching the High Notes, and I've nicknamed him Claude, and I have put him on every single Advent project that I've worked on, and it's so cute. He keeps me company. He's got little sparkly gingerbread buttons. Let me see if I can. It's just so hard. It's so hard to show the little. There you go. There you go. There's Claude. Anyway, so this will be the fingerless mittens, or fingerless gloves, as she calls them. And then I still have some little bits of yarn scraps, and I think that I will end up with a bunch of little scraps. Because I am determined to use every last bit of my advent calendar, I decided to also incorporate another pattern in the mix. And the pattern is called the High Fidelity Cowl, designed by Deja Joy. This is a free pattern with a tutorial. I found the link for it on Ravelry, but you can also find the blog. The blog is Knit and Crochet. You can see it right there. And again, I will link all of these in the show notes. So it's just a ripple cowl what I did is I found in Stash a ball of Knit Picks Chroma in this color. I don't really like this yarn. I'll be honest with you. It's hard to frog, and I thought I had given it all away because I bought a bunch of balls a while ago, a long time ago, and I started working with one of them. I did not like it, but I found this one that was left over, and I decided I'm just going to use it. And what I'm doing is I am incorporating the little bits and pieces that are left from the advent calendar into the pattern. And it's been a long time since I have, as you can see here, I've run out of yarn. I have to add a new color. It's been a long time since I've worked a ripple, and I always forget how much fun they are. So I'm going to use this pattern to incorporate whatever's left over of the advent calendar to make this cowl. And this will be the main color that I'm going to use. So I really like the way that this looks. And I like the way that she's done the ripple. It's not like a symmetrical, it's not like it's the same amount of stitches between ripples. As you can see, it's a little bit different, and it gives it a different look. Not hard to follow at all. It's a great pattern. She's got, like I said, a tutorial, and that is, that's where I'm at with my advent calendar. I'm really, like I said, I'm really happy that I was able to make the things that I made, and that I'm still feeling very, very much engaged with it. I know it's like, it's a new year, new projects, but I'm still really excited about the projects that I chose. Thoughts about tackling an advent calendar this way are, they're mixed, because there's so many ends that you have to weave in, because you're using bits and pieces of these mini skeins, as opposed to a dedicated project. This Chelsea Yarns advent calendar has a dedicated project. It's a knit project, and it's a free pattern that came with the advent. But I didn't want to end up with a really long wrap, and I didn't think that I would be able to, attention-wise, and keep engagement with a pattern like that at this point. And what I have found is that I really like having the different pieces, but I did have to deal with a lot of ends. So if that's sort of like, you've got to weigh the two, whether, if you don't mind having a bunch of ends to work through, then that's fine. If you do mind, then maybe having one huge continuous project would be a better way to go. But the main thing for me was that an advent calendar is an investment. I mean, it's not a cheap thing to purchase. And I really wanted to have something to show for, aside from just opening up the pretty yarn every day, which is a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun. But I also felt like I wanted to really have something to show for. And also, I liked that I learned some new stitches, and I liked that I wasn't thinking about putting color combinations together. I was just grabbing one day after the next. And so it took me out of my comfort zone. It does give me some play and creativity, but it was like, this is the palette you're working with. And so I thought that was really a positive experience. And so I don't know. I mean, will I do it this way next year? I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. Will I buy an advent calendar for next season? I probably will. I would like to support a BIPOC dyer for the upcoming season for when I purchase an advent calendar, if I purchase an advent calendar. I think I would really like to do that. If you guys have any recommendations for that, or once you start seeing them pop up, send them my way. So a huge thank you to Christina of Chelsea Yarns and her husband, Red Bank Mike, and all the girls, all the chickens, and all that good stuff. It was a really, really fun Vlogmas season. I will link below the blogs that I watched. Like I was saying, Sandy by the Lakeside, love watching her blog. 2 new ones that I picked up were Girl Meets Yarn and also Sweet Skein of Mine. I really enjoyed watching their blogs. And let me see, was there another one? I popped in and out of Cozy Cottage Crochet. You guys know Hannah, she's awesome. And also to Kalisha, the Quirky Monday podcast. I popped in and out of her blog too. It was like when I was sick, I was watching a lot of blogs. It was crazy. That's all I ate. Like I couldn't even focus on like crocheting. I was just like literally a potato sitting on the couch, or laying on the couch watching blogs. To Kalisha, I'm sending you a huge hug. I hope that you are doing better. I know it's really hard. Check out Kalisha's blogs. This was a really tough season for her. She lost her puppy Kiva, and as a lifelong dog owner, it never gets easy. It never gets easy. But I could not live a life without a dog by my side. So I heartfelt, sincere hug sent your way, Kalisha. And actually, what's really funny is that we went to the zoo on the 22nd of December. I think it was, 22nd of December. And there was a machine, penny pressing machine. And immediately I thought of Kalisha. And immediately I said to myself, we're going to press a penny, which I couldn't think of the term pressing pennies at the time. I'm like, what is it that you call this? Anyway, I will put that little bit. You'll see it here. I'll include that. But we pressed a penny for you, Kalisha, and it's going to be mailed out to you this week. So we're here at the San Diego Zoo, and I've come across one of these machines that I know my friend Kalisha of the Quirky Monday podcast loves to collect. These, what do you call these? What do you call these? What's the name of these?
Zoo coins.
I don't know. What is it?
Smash penny.
I don't know. Something penny. Anyway, look at, here's my son, Walter. Walter, say hi.
Hello.
And he's going to crank your penny, Kalisha. Okay, push it in. And then here we go. Let's see what we get, Kalisha. Coming to you from the San Diego Zoo. Ooh, what did we get?
A penny.
Alligator. Let's see. Let me see it. Put it in my hand.
We got to.
Wait, put it in my hand. Otter. I need to show Kalisha what we're going to send her.
That is not an otter. That is a hippo. See, you get to choose.
Look. Oh, you get a hippo. Can you see it? Wait, there we go. Kalisha, we're going to send you a hippo. We hope you like it.
If you don't know how this works.
That wraps up my crocheting foes, my crochetings, my project queue, which is, you saw what I'm going to start with, my fingerless mittens, gloves, whatever you want to call them. And then my non-frogging pile, my older whips. And, it's going to be a great crochet season. I hope that you guys are excited about what you're going to crochet and excited about crafty plans. I know I am. So if that's all you wanted to watch, I thank you for stopping by. The next is just going to be a bunch of rambling. So every year, I choose a word for the year. And last year's word was contentment. And I really held on tight to that word, and I found it really grounded me, and it really helped me put things into perspective. And I feel like 2022 in the world was terrible with everything that was going on. But 2022 for me personally was a really good year. I was able to find a job where I work with some really just lovely, great people. I like my job. I wake up every morning and I go to a job and I feel like I don't know, it's kind of weird to say, but I feel like I have such a sense of purpose because I work in a school and I'm trying to help families and students and staff. And I feel really good about the work that I do. And so I'm very, very, very happy to have found, very grateful to have found this job that I have now. So for me, 2022, finding this job was a highlight. 2022 was a year that I decluttered many things from my life. And I'm still not where I want to be in terms of decluttering my house. I will tell you, I've decluttered, I think like 60% of my house. And there is nothing that I have gotten rid of that I've missed. Not one thing. And even last week, I decluttered my closet even further. And I've just, I made a note of the first week of January of the things that if I have not touched or used or looked at next January, they're all going to go away. Because I have some stuff that I'm holding on to thinking maybe I'll need it. Maybe, right? And I'm having a little bit of a hard time letting those things go, but I've put them on a clock. So if 1 year from now I haven't used these things, worn these things, then they're gonna exit my house. Because again, I don't want to manage this inventory in my house that keeps collecting dust, and I just want to get rid of it. Have I brought new things into my house? Yes, I have. But what I've tried to do is if I'm bringing something in, I'm taking something out. Like I'm looking to get a bread maker. And I'm really excited about that, and I've been researching it. And there's another thing that I want to bring into my life that I'm pumping the brakes on, but I'll tell you about it later. And we almost got a puppy. Oh my gosh. We almost got a puppy, but we didn't. So yes, there's still stuff coming in, but I'm always so happy to be putting stuff out. So I decluttered a lot of the things in my life. I joined a book club, and so I was part of the Women Who Read and Write Science Fiction for 2022. It was such a good experience. Because as much as I love to read, and I love science fiction, I've never really read a lot of science fiction. I've watched a lot of movies, or shows, but I've never really read a lot of books, science fiction books. And so it was only one book a quarter, and, enjoyed all the books. And I would say the highlights for me were How High We Go, in the Dark, and, Machinehood. And I will link those books down below in case you're interested. Really, really, really enjoyed those two books. We just actually had the discussion on it on New Year's Day. Was it New Year's Day? Last Sunday, with the ladies who run it. And it just was something that I really wanted to push myself in terms of reading other things. And I'm doing it again this year. I've joined up again, and we are, going through the different choices of books that we might be, reading for the first quarter, which I'm excited about. I'll put a link to that below. I would encourage anybody who wants to read some science fiction and discuss it with some nice ladies, to join up. I've talked about it before. And, let me see. Cause I almost I listen to books on Audible, but two of the books are so good I actually bought the actual books. And it's really two different experiences because when you have good narration, it really is amazing, you know. When you don't have good narration, sometimes it can kill the vibe of a book. But luckily, the two books that really stood out for me had really great narration and really just were so engaging. So that was another highlight of 2022 for me. So, like I said, the world was burning and so many things are going wrong in 2022, but I'm very grateful and praying that things get better for everyone around the world. But 2022 was a really good year where I did find contentment and I found growth. So my word for this year, for 2023, is the word flourish. And my initial word was going to be no. That was going to be my word for the year. But I decided that that was not going to be a good word to put out into the universe. But yes, my word for the year is flourish. And I'll read you I went to the Google, and this is the definition that stood out for me, which was person, animal, or other living organism that grows or develops in a healthy or vigorous way, especially as a result of a particularly favorable environment. And so that last bit of it really resonated with me, because I think that that is one of the things that helped me find contentment in 2022, is that I was in some really favorable environments, and I hope and will be working on continuing to create a favorable environment so that I can grow as a person, as a mother, as a wife, as an entrepreneur. Because I think that at this point, you know, I want to be able to enjoy the things that I have without wanting more and more and more. You know, I have everything that I need. So why keep looking when everything I need is here? My family's here. The things that I love to create with are here in my home. And so I think that I can flourish in the environment that I'm going to create in 2023. And I hope that you guys will as well. One last thing before I go, I wanted to mention that there is a podcaster, Jackie. Hi, Jackie, of Crochet 8HD. Crochet 8HD. I actually had to go watch a podcast to pay attention to how she said it, and I still think I'm saying it wrong. Anyway, I'm going to link her channel below. She is running a fun shawl along. I have to say it very slowly because she picked a really fun name for her along. And I'll give you the hashtag. I'll put it right here. Shawl Along. Shawl Along 23. You guys go and say that. Shawl Along 23. It's such a fun way of saying it. And she says here, it's going to run from January 15th through March 31st. So you got plenty of time. And what she says, the main purpose is to support lesser made crochet or knit shawls as a means to support our fiber sisters and brothers. I have created bundles on Ravelry of patterns that have with fewer than 40 projects, but they don't have to be Ravelry only patterns. So if you go to her Ravelry, she's got a bundle there where you can see patterns that you can make, but they don't have to be from Ravelry. So like I said, I'll link her channel below, and please go check her out. She has a really fun podcast. She's a lovely lady. And I don't know that I will be doing a any alongs except for the two that I always do. And you guys know it's the Dodgy Bag Mal with Ali from Little Drops of Wonderful and Summer Romance with Clarissa Beth, which we have so many fun plans this year, you guys. I can't wait for you guys to see what we have planned for this year's Summer of Romance. So I think I'm done. I think I'm done. And I wish you the best. And I will see you soon. Crochet on. Be good to yourselves. It's a new year. Let's leave the negative stuff from 2022 behind and build good memories. Let's get filled. No. Let's fill ourselves with positivity and do the best we can. And let's just have a great 2023, you guys. So I will see you soon. Bye.